The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff or management of Worldwide Digital Broadcasting Corporation.
Welcome to your Health and Wellness Hour, sponsored by Luminosity Wellness Center here in Las Vegas, coming to you from the studios of Worldwide Digital Broadcasting. Our goal is to incite and ignite all your senses and curiosities. So sit back, relax, open your mind and your heart, and enjoy the show.
Hello, welcome to the Health and Wellness Hour. My name is Abra McGrath, and I am coming to you today from Luminosity Wellness Center, brought to you by WWDBTV. Today on the Health and Wellness Hour, we are discussing radiation and dirty electricity and how it affects everyone and what we can do about it. Today we have a special guest, Bill Cadwallader. I had to say that 10 times to get it straight. Bill is coming to us with his wonderful business called StopDirtyElectricity.com. And what Bill does is he consults with people in their everyday lives to help them practice and be safe. What we do here at Luminosity Center is talk about taking health into our own hands and how to integrate health and wellness into our daily lives, making it a practice. And so Bill is here to teach us etiquette on safe digital usage and safety with our devices.
Yes, definitely.
So Bill, you want to tell us a little bit about your background and where you came from, how you developed this program?
Yes, I'm a certified electromagnetic radiation specialist. There's about 25 of us in the U.S. and Canada, and we go through a 2-year program to get certified, and there's 14 courses. Once we get certified, then we're allowed to practice in the U.S. and Canada. And so what we do is we go out to people's houses, we do home inspections, but then we also have phone consulting. So if someone's far away, we can take phone consulting and help those people. And then we also have a third way of helping people. If someone wants to do it do it themselves, we actually have a do-it-yourself video packages. So they can buy the meters, the 3 meters, and they can go out throughout their entire house, and we have videos for each room of the house, for each meter. So in your office, here's what you're going to look for. We actually have audit sheets that'll tell all the offending devices in any room, from an office to a living room to a family room to even a bedroom.
Wow. So this is a very, very specialized niche market that we're
yes.
Even though the information superhighway came out to be all about awareness and knowledge, it's actually hurting us in a lot of ways. So can you tell us what drove you and inspired you? Because this sounds like it must have come from a very passionate story to get you to start doing this to help people.
Yes. What happened was I had a coworker. I've worked in IT all my life, and I had a coworker, and at work, every time I saw him before and after meetings, he always had a cell phone right to his head. And he eventually developed a tumor right where he held the cell phone. Not on the back of his head, not on this side, not on the top, right there. So they had massive surgery, and then they had chemo, but it grew back. And again, removed it with surgery, massive chemo, and then he died.
Oh my gosh.
He left a wife who was now widowed. He left 7 children who were now fatherless. And at that moment in time, I knew the industry was never going to tell us how to use these devices safely. And in my opinion, he died unnecessarily. Absolutely. It could have been saved. So Absolutely. That's what started the industry, and that's what started me in the industry.
So basically, we're talking about an etiquette on how to use your digital devices. We've been taught how to use them to make money, to, be social with our social media,
Sure.
but no one's ever taught us how to use them responsibly.
Right,
So
and that's what we do. We show you how to use these devices responsibly in a safe way. We never want you to throw away the devices. We want you to use them responsibly. Exactly.
Excellent. So
And we'll
go ahead.
Yeah, and we'll go over that. We have 10 ways you can lower your exposure to harmful radiation, and that's what we'll show everyone to do. Normally, they're only 1 minute to 3 minute solutions anyone can do.
Okay, so where do we start? We have to recognize the problem. We have to recognize and learn what is dirty electricity.
Right. So let's just go through a little
Sure.
PowerPoint. And on the slide that says electromagnetic fields, they've always existed in nature. We are all bioelectric beings. Our heart rate, our pineal gland, and that talks about melatonin. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And then brain waves all have an electrical component.
Right, your alphas, your deltas, all of those, right?
Right.
Okay.
And then we have, so what's the big deal? And I talked about the coworker and his story, and that's what really motivated me to get into this industry. And then on our next slide, we have safe things that were really dangerous. So in the past, asbestos, BPA, things like formaldehyde, lead in paint, mercury, pesticides, and even tobacco we were told were all safe. We know they're not, and we want to add one thing to that list. So right at the bottom, we have excessive electromagnetic radiation.
Okay.
And on our next slide, we talk about electromagnetic radiation is the tobacco of the 21st century. And like tobacco and smoking, it can kill you. But we have solutions. So on our next slide with the family, here's a little stat at the bottom. We are all exposed to as much as 100 million times more electromagnetic radiation than our grandparents.
Oh my gosh.
Wow, that's a large number.
Wow.
And it grows every single year.
So when did that start? Like 1960s? Like when?
You know, it really started with in the 70s when we started developing, we had an oil crisis, so we started developing energy-friendly devices. But the more a device is made energy friendly, the more it actually creates radiation. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. And on our next slide, it has to do with the Bioinitiative Report 2012. This is over 3,900 scientific peer-reviewed studies on the hazards of electromagnetic radiation, and it's done by all MDs and scientific PhDs throughout the world, 3,900.
Oh, amazing.
And then on our next slide, could radiation be the straw that broke the camel's back? Now, we're not saying radiation, we're going to cover some diseases, is the only cause of all these diseases, but could it be a contributory cause? And the reason we think it is in certain diseases is, one, we know it damages the DNA. We know the blood-brain barrier is at risk, and we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Wow.
And finally, it weakens the immune system. So those are three things you really don't want to happen.
Oh,
and we'll talk
absolutely
about
not.
the immune
Right.
system a little bit later as well. So let's go over some of the cancers, the most common that could be a contributory cause. So we have brain cancer, breast cancer, colon cancer, larynx, leukemia, lymphoma, multiple myeloma, and then melanoma. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And then finally, ovarian cancer, pancreatic, salivary, and testicular, and finally, thyroid and uterine cancer. We'll talk about those a little bit later as well. And so let's look at some non-cancers. So we have ADD, ADHD, Alzheimer's. And again, we're looking for a contributory cause, not the sole cause.
Right.
Asthma, birth defects, blood-brain barrier is at risk. So what it does, in a study in Sweden, after 2 minutes on a cell phone, it started to open up the blood-brain barrier that is designed to protect your brain. And so what happens is now toxins can get into the brain now that could never get into the brain, and heavy metals can get in as well. So that is not good. Blood pressure, chronic fatigue, and then on the next one, radiation health risk number 4, skin problems, diabetes, electromagnetic hypersensitivity, fatigue, fertility, fibromyalgia, and even hair loss. We'll talk about that toward the end.
This list is insane.
It is crazy. And then finally on number 5, heart problems, headaches, dizziness, nausea, and also under heart problems we have palpitations, lupus, miscarriages, multiple sclerosis, and then finally on number 6, numbness and tingling sensations, Parkinson's, rheumatoid, sleep disturbances, tinnitus, tremors in muscle, and finally it weakens the immune system. What happens is you might now get a disease you were never designed to get because now your system is weaker, your immune system, and here's the other problem. Now it's even harder to get rid of that disease.
Wow.
Yeah.
So our nervous system is our own electrical system.
Yes.
So, of course, it's going to be affected by electricity.
Yes.
Electricity is going to mess with our own electrical system.
Yes.
Wow.
And that's one of the problems. We'll go into those. And so is there anything we can do? Yes, we can. We have solutions. And that's what I want everyone to realize. We have simple, easy solution. And in most cases, we can reduce your exposure and everyone's exposure by over 90%.
90%.
Yes.
Excellent.
So let's do a little background on the next slides, the type of electromagnetic radiation. So through the air, we have wireless and Wi-Fi. People are very familiar with that. But also on the wires, we have electric, we have magnetic radiation, and we have dirty electricity.
Before you skip, I
Sure.
want you to drive home that I don't think people realize through the air, because they can't see it.
Right.
That
You
it
can't
is
smell
exposure.
it, you can't taste it, and that's the problem. If it was smoke, so when people smoked a lot in
Right.
restaurants, you could say, hey, look at that smoke.
Right.
That's
Oh,
harming me,
obviously
secondhand
that's
smoke.
poisonous. Right.
But you can't see that, and that's the problem. Good question. Thank you. So let's look at the first radiation on the wire. It's called electric radiation. It's produced by live electrical wires behind walls and visible electric wires. So we have wires in our wall here that you can't even see, and it comes out 6 to 8 feet, the radiation.
Oh, wow.
And then if you see a plug, any wire on the wall plugged in, that also produces electric radiation. And it exists even if the device is turned off. So if you have something plugged into your kitchen, it's creating electric radiation. And let's give you a little example on the next slide. Think of a garden hose. You can turn off the nozzle, but there's still water in the hose, water or water pressure. Likewise, you can turn off an appliance, but there's still electricity in the wire, and it creates electric radiation that comes out 6 to 8 feet.
Wow. And normally you're sitting next to that on a couch or...
Think about when someone's sleeping,
Yeah.
6 to 8 feet out from the wall or their
my
headboard.
gosh.
It covers the entire bed. And we normally think about, look at the bottom left, the big high electrical wires, but all these create electric radiation. So let's look at number 2. Number 2 is magnetic radiation. It's produced by the flow of electric current. So before electric radiation, you had a device off, you still created electric radiation, but now we turned it on like a lamp. You have electric radiation and you have magnetic radiation. You have 2 radiations now.
Okay.
Let's think of also a water pipe entering a building. You say water pipe. How can a water pipe bring in electric
Right.
and magnetic radiation? Well, in 1992, what happened was the federal government, the FCC, allowed the utilities to do something special. What happens is we get our electricity from a power plant, it comes to our house, and it returns back. With all our new electronic devices, the wire that it was going back on was starting to overheat. And the electric companies, the utility companies rather, didn't want to put up 4 or 5 million miles of extra
replace
wire,
it.
so they allowed them to put it straight into the ground. So every other wire, every other pole has it going right into the ground, and it flows right along the ground. It's not 2 miles deep, it's right along the ground. It was so much of a problem in Minnesota and Wisconsin, the dairy farms, the cows were being shocked, just standing on the earth,
Oh
and their
my
milk
gosh.
production went way down. So much they actually have won lawsuits against the electric company now for sticking electricity into the ground. And here's the other
Those poor cows.
yeah, it's really bad. So your water pipe can now pick that up and bring it into your house.
Wow.
Yeah. So it can travel 2 to 6 feet out from any wall or device. This is magnetic radiation, and it can travel hundreds of feet from a high voltage power line. So let's look at the next slide. See at the top left the AC magnetic fields? So it has, in the U.S., you can carry up to 768,000 volts on those high wires. We have 120 in the wall, but that's how much they can carry. And because they're so much larger, they come so much farther out. So you don't want to be this house or this person at the top left. But some of these other things created as well. And look at the bottom right, that CFL. That's a curly Q. If you have those in your house, please get rid of them. We'll talk about them a little bit later. They're very, very dangerous.
They're supposed to be energy efficient.
Remember, anything made energy efficient produces more radiation.
Oh, no.
Yes.
I thought we were doing good.
We do have solutions for that. So solutions to electric and magnetic radiation: unplug or turn off whenever possible. Think about your kitchen. Do you really have to have your blender plugged in? So just unplug everything, and immediately you've cut that radiation 6 to 8 feet out.
And I was told just to save on your electricity.
Sure.
That was a,
almost,
so I was like, oh, cut cost. It cut like $30 off our bill.
Almost all electronic device have a standby mode that constantly uses electricity, so you are saving energy as well. So just unplug anything. And if you want to do it yourself, remember we have a do-it-yourself meter and videos. This gigahertz 3030B is really good. We use thousands of dollars worth of meters when we go out, but this will give you what you need to know and to make your home safe.
Wow.
So the final electricity that piggybacks on the wire is called dirty electricity. It's caused by electronics running on a lower voltage. So all electronics cannot run on 120 volts, which in the wall, they have to drop it to 19 volts or less. And when they drop it, they create spikes of radiation. But they're doing this thousands of times a second that piggyback on your line.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's also caused by energy efficient devices. We talked about that. So if you have a fluorescent light, it turns off anywhere from 5,000 to 10,000 times a second. It only uses half the electricity because it's half the time off, and your eyes can't pick up when the light's off.
Oh, interesting.
But it's creating spikes of radiation every time it's turned on and off, and it piggybacks along your wires. And it can travel for miles as well. So
that's no
let's look at the next one, middle school cancer cluster. So the number on the left, 24 students at a single, or 24 teachers at a single school got cancer.
Oh my gosh.
And if that's not bad enough, 49 former students at that middle school have now developed cancer in their 20s. The worst news of all, 12 teachers have died, and 6 students have died, and 6 teachers have now died.
Oh no.
And think about when you were in your 20s. How many of your friends had cancer? Most people I talked to had 0.
Nobody, yeah.
How about from a single school?
Oh my gosh.
Wow. And I have 3 other numbers, 13, 10, and 9.
And this is because they were located next to
it had to do with the dirty electricity on the wires that was coming about a mile away from a substation. Gosh. And let's look at the 3 top cancers. 13 times the thyroid cancer. Wow. 10 times melanoma cancer that was expected, and 9 times the uterine cancer. That is just the top 3 cancers.
Oh my gosh.
And again, on the next slide, an epidemiologist who measured the school thinks it came from a power plant about a mile away. So this can be shipped into your house, not even caused by yourself.
And you think the school would be like an adequate distance away as a builder, or somebody? Yeah,
they had another problem. There was a development right next to the school where they had about 40 homes. 12 of those homes, people had cancer.
Oh my
So they were getting it as well.
Oh no.
Right. And so we think of dirty electricity, so we have the curly Q bulb in the center. Again, get rid of that. On the bottom left is now a smart meter, an electrical utility. We'll talk about that later. So these are just some of the ones that can create it. And finally, solutions to dirty electricity. Our next screen, unplug or turn off whenever possible.
Okay.
Turn off dimmers. Now, some people go to the effect of getting rid of dimmers.
Oh.
Most people won't do that, so what we recommend, you always keep them off whenever you don't need them, because it creates tons of dirty electricity.
Okay.
And literally, it can even come from your neighbor.
Wow.
If they vary their dimmer, we can be in a home. If they're on the same transformer, you can actually see the needle go up.
Wow.
And then no CFLs, those are those little curly Q bulbs.
Okay.
We have halogen, and we have incandescents that you can buy instead. Those are the two best lights.
Oh, great.
And when you get the halogen, make sure it has the big screw on the bottom, not two small pins, but the big screw, just like a normal light bulb.
Oh, okay.
And they save 28% of the energy. And increased distance from these, 6 feet. And a great meter to measure this is the Stetzer meter. It's down on the bottom left. And this is one of out of the 3 radiations we just covered, this is the only one you can literally buy meters for, or filters, that you can actually knock it down. So at that school, they could have actually bought filters to knock it down.
If they would have known.
Yes.
Yes. So we're going to go ahead and stop right here and take a little break and listen to our sponsors. We'll be right back with you at the Health and Wellness
Frank's
Hour.
European Service is an authorized Bosch car service center. We service all European makes and models, but specialize in Mercedes-Benz. Why choose Frank's European Service? Our mission is your experience. Honesty, always telling the truth during the service and repair process. Integrity, always doing the right thing. And quality, always using the best possible equipment, parts, fluids, and personnel. We provide a 3-year or 36,000-mile warranty on all parts and repairs. We offer stress-free financing with the Bosch Service Credit Card. Frank's European Service. Visit us at 1931 North Rainbow Boulevard, Las Vegas, or call us now at 702-850-7558.
Hi, I'm Joe Peroni.
And I'm Heidi Mancini, and we're the hosts of the Rise Above show. Check us out on WWDBTV on Thursday afternoons at 2 p.m.
Welcome back to the Health and Wellness Hour. My name is Abra McGrath, and we're here with Bill Cadwallader. Oh, I almost messed it up that time.
Perfect.
And Bill is hold on, I can get it right, certified electromagnetic radiation specialist. And he is here today with Stop Dirty Electricity to teach us all about clearing our homes and integrating wellness in our daily lives by keeping the radiation down and limiting exposure. So.
Yes, and we have solutions, and we'll cover the 10 things.
Excellent.
Yes. So the final one we're going to look at is wireless and Wi-Fi radiation. It's through the air. Major sources include cell phones, cell towers, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, wireless, microwave ovens, and here's one, baby monitors.
Oh my gosh.
And we'll cover that a little bit later. And virtual reality goggles. Those new goggles that you put on and you put the phone, very, very bad. Try to limit those. Remember, you're only an inch to 2 inches that radiation's from your eyes and your brain. So please don't use it. And they can originate inside or outside the building. So there's commercial antennas that are feeding it. If you go to antennasearch.com, it'll tell you the commercial antennas within a 4-mile radius. And here's the thing. I've never measured any place in Las Vegas, you put in your address, that there wasn't over 100. Most of the time it's over 200 getting beamed right at you.
Wow.
The radiation. And then let's talk about inside. Most electronic devices now have a wireless and Wi-Fi component. So if you have your printer, even though you might have it plugged into your desktop, it's still looking for a laptop to send its wireless signal.
So turn it off?
Yes, turn it off.
The Wi-Fi.
Turn off any electronic device that you're not using. So let's go to the next page, and here's some of the things that create Wi-Fi and wireless. And look at the top right. How can that be good when you have a child and a cell phone is half the child's head? That cannot be good. And we'll talk about how much radiation that child is getting in a couple of slides.
Well, so many kids are, thinking they're doing their brain games and all sorts of things on their iPads too. And, parents think they're helping educate their kids and they're creating exposure at the same time. Yeah, so many parents probably have no idea.
We'll show you how to play those games safely as well.
Oh, good.
So let's look at the next slide, and it says a 21-year-old breast cancer. How can a 21-year-old have a breast cancer? So I saw this lady. She wore her cell phone right here, starting at 18. By the time she was 21, there was a tumor right under there.
Goodness.
It used to take, with older phones, we called them 2G, it used to take up to 10 years to create a tumor. Then with 3G, it was down to 5 years to create a tumor. Now with our 4G phones, that stands for generation, they can create a tumor in 3 years.
So they're more receptive as their own personal cell phone tower, basically. The small little computer you're holding in your hand has that much power.
Every generation we go, they get more powerful and more radiation they're generating. And 5G is just around the corner. Singapore already has it.
So if you can not upgrade your phone as much as possible, maybe that could be a trend. You know, people are so apt to want to run out there and get the latest device. Well, maybe we can convince them not to, huh?
Yes, and then also if someone does get it, we can show them how to use that even more safe, how to minimize. That's our whole thing. Let's minimize the risk. Good question. So wireless Wi-Fi solutions. Again, we're all about solutions. Unplug or turn off electronics when not in use. You mentioned the printer. Just turn it, when you're in an office, turn off any electronics you can. Anywhere you are, turn them off, and you know it's not getting any radiation. Hardwire devices whenever possible. Remember, we used to have a desktop and we used to hardwire to a printer, so do that whenever you can. And increase distance, as in all cases. The more you distance in between you and the device, the less radiation you're getting. And if someone wants to do it themselves, there's a great little meter called the Acousticom 2. We have it on our website, but you can buy it on Amazon and anywhere. And we'll show you a couple of videos with this later.
On how to use it.
So finally, we get to solutions. As promised, 10 ways you can reduce your exposure right now. And I've thrown in a bonus, so don't leave. You want to see that number 11. So please don't leave.
Yes.
So the first one is microwave ovens. They generate wireless and radiation when in use. We have never measured a microwave oven that was safe to stand in front of when you actually turned it on.
So does radiation stay in the food that you cook in it?
You know, I'm not an expert in that area. I don't know. I've heard other people talk that it changes somewhat the food or the water, but I really don't know about that.
Because I know we're trying to just get away from using it altogether because it zaps a lot of the nutrients in your food anyway.
That's what we would recommend. But when we go out to someone's house, we have a good, better, and best solution. So someone I'll come out, where's your microwave? We don't have it. And other ones will say, you know, I want to use it. So then we talk about minimum, and the video will show you how far you have to get away after you turn it on.
Well, you know, homes are getting smaller and smaller as all the rates start, you know, going. Inflation starts happening and rates just skyrocket all over the place. You know, people are trying to build tiny homes and all these things, and it's like you can only go so far. In a lot of these, you say stay a safe distance away. It's almost impossible in some places.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll show you on that microwave video.
Sure.
And after starting microwave, get as far away as possible.
Okay.
And on the next slide, again, there's someone about ready to start it. So at this time, we're going to play a little microwave oven video, and it'll show you how far, with this particular microwave, how far to get. So let's look at that. Today we're going to look at a microwave. You've often heard get away from the microwave if you turn it on. Let's see how far you have to get away to be in the safe level from radiation. We're going to turn on the Acousticom 2. There's one button. And let's turn some sound on. As you can see, it's in the green. We want to get to the yellow or green. Those are the safe levels. Now let's turn on the microwave and see what happens. As you can see, it went all the way up to the red. So let's go back and see how far we need to get back. So we're actually going to, still in the red, we get a little bit of an amber. A little bit of an amber still in the red. And the type of radiation we're measuring here is Wi-Fi and wireless radiation. And as you can see, it goes right through the walls. We've gone through a couple of walls and it's still there. So just going out of the room is not going to help. We've actually gone through a kitchen, a hallway. Now we're into a living room. You can still see it's in the amber now, and we're going to try to get it into the yellow. Every so often it goes into the red. So now we're through 3 rooms and we're in another hallway. So let's continue to go back. and see how far we're away. Probably about 40 feet away at this point, maybe a little bit farther. And now we finally start to see a little bit of a yellow. And I'm going to turn the sound off. So as you can see, you have to really get away from a microwave once you turn it on. If you want more information, go to stopdirtyelectricity.com. Thank you.
Okay, now we're back at the Health and Wellness Hour with Bill Cadwallader. Man, I'll get it, I promise. And we just watched a video on how to use your microwave safely.
Yes, and can you believe it? In that video, we had to get back 40 feet, and it was still not 100. Isn't that something? And we went through walls. We went through a hallway. We went through one room, the kitchen. We went through a hallway. We went through another room. We went into another hallway. And remember, walls do not stop the radiation. Wow. And here's another thing we always recommend. Think about your pets. Where are your pets when you're using the microwave? Get them as far away as possible.
Or babies or anything.
Anything, yes.
Plants.
Yeah, and it's not too hard. Just start it and walk away.
I don't know. I tend to use mine as I'm doing other things in my kitchen. That's so interesting.
Yeah. Again, we always talk about risk versus reward, and you can see, you saw by the video, this microwave you had to get, and that's not unusual. So they're almost all that way.
So just get in the habit of doing it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Please. And then tip number 2, move your cell phone when charging. So devices that are on generate wireless and Wi-Fi radiation even when not being used. Remember, ping, 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 ping. So every 6 to 30 seconds on average, even though you're not on a call on a microwave, on a cell phone, it actually tries to find the nearest cell tower, the nearest Bluetooth device, or the nearest Wi-Fi device. So again, chargers generate that all types of radiation as well on the wires. So think about someone who is charging their cell phone right on their nightstand.
Which is probably a lot of
a lot of people. But when we talk with people, they're willing to move it as far away as possible. And then move everything, even clocks, away from your nightstand. Get it as far away as possible. Not too hard. Someone says, I can't read it, just buy a bigger clock with bigger numbers and put it on the other side of the room. You're just doing yourself. And look at this gentleman. Don't be like that. Move that cell phone off. Kidney cancer. So on the next slide. So I was a featured speaker at the cancer convention in Los Angeles, in Studio City, Universal Studio. And we were down there, and a lady came to me at lunchtime and said, my husband has kidney cancer. I said, kidney cancer? I said, where does he carry his cell phone? He carries it right on his belt. Well, which kidney was affected? Was it the one over here? The one right underneath his belt. Said, wow. She says, okay, he's not carrying it there, but now he has another problem. I said, another problem? What's the other problem he has? He's starting to get some dementia. Remember the Swedish study? After just 2 minutes, your blood-brain barrier started to open up. Guess where he charged his cell phone? Charged it right on his nightstand next to his head, and you were generating 3 types of radiation on the wire from that charger, plus wireless radiation every 6 to 30 seconds, just bombarding his brain. So
it's devastating.
Boy, it is. So tip 3. Remember, we're all about solutions. Use speaker mode when speaking on a cell phone. So whenever possible, use a cell phone on speaker mode. Now, we know you can't do it all the time, but just put on speakerphone on an outstretched hand makes a huge difference. And try never to hold a cell phone to your ear.
So my husband and I were talking about this, and the Bluetooth in the car and the Wi-Fi in the car. A lot of these cars are coming out now with all these capabilities. So what would you suggest? Just limit your exposure? Or
yeah, the Bluetooth is a little harder to turn off. It's not quite as bad, but definitely if you have Wi-Fi in the car, just call the manufacturer and there's a way of turning it off. It's a lot. When Wi-Fi goes off, it's about 120 times the safe level.
Whoa.
Yeah, so again, we know the Bluetooth is there, but at least turn the Wi-Fi off on new cars.
It's for your driving safety, but not for your brain safety.
Yeah. And remember that on the next one, we have a gentleman holding a cell phone to his head. Remember that young boy that had that cell phone half the size of their head? Around 50% of radiation emitted from a cell phone is absorbed into our head and body.
Whoa.
Remember the young boy with developing cells and everything in growth? Really bad. So be like, on our next slide, use speaker mode. Be like the lady on the right, turn on speaker mode and just hold it outstretched. That's the best way to talk on a cell phone. And tip number 4, when carrying a cell phone on your body, turn airplane mode on and then turn Bluetooth and Wi-Fi off. This will shut down all the radiation on the phone. And you have to check it. Sometimes someone turns on airplane mode and turns these 2 off. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes it turns 1 off. So just make sure you do all 3 of these. Cell phones generate radiation even when you're not making a call. So remember, every 6 to 30 seconds looking for a cell tower, the cell phone, even if you're not on a call. And then also it's looking for the nearest Bluetooth and Wi-Fi device. But let's do an important note. In these modes, you will not be able to receive text, emails, data, or phone calls. So what we recommend is when someone gets in their car, take the cell phone out of their pocket and put it on the seat next to them. Not too hard. And when you come into your home or office, take it out of your pocket and just put it, as far away as you can, where you can easily reach it. Well, that makes a huge difference.
Well, and almost we need to get back to the etiquette of having designated times for phones.
Sure.
We hardly even interact in physical form with each other because everyone's just head is buried in their cell phone. So how cool would it be to have your airplane mode on so that you can interact with people around you? Hey.
Yeah. And what my wife does is she cuts off the radiation, and her friends know every 20 minutes she'll check her phone.
Oh.
So, hey, 20 minutes, everyone can do that.
Yeah.
So, again, please do that. So don't carry phones in pockets, but if you are, turn the radiation off.
Turn the radiation off.
And on the next slide, we have a 19-year-old hip replacement.
Oh, my goodness.
Hip replacement? How can a 19-year-old have a hip replacement? We were doing some work at a firefighter's house in Orange County, California, Southern California, and he brings out his son, and he's 19-year-old, and he announces he has a hip replacement. Hip replacement? What? How can a 19-year-old have a hip replacement? So he told us his story. At 19, he started carrying his cell phone in his front right pocket. From a freshman all the way to a senior, he carried it there. And shortly after he graduated, he was 19, and he was just hiking, jumped off a little rock, broke his hip, rushed him to emergency, opened him up, and the surgeon was astounded. What she did is she found a huge tumor right where he held the cell phone. And something even worse is she could stick her finger literally through the bone. God. It had dissolved the bone.
Oh, no.
So that's why we're so, and that was only after 4 years.
Well, he got upgrade after upgrade probably too.
Yeah.
More powerful phones.
Yeah. And so again,
gosh.
that's why, but again, just keep it out of your pocket when you're driving. Just put it in the seat next to you, or when you sit down, take it out of your pocket.
Or if
and
it's in your pocket, turn off the Wi-Fi.
And think about a purse. If a lady has a purse or someone has a purse, just get that purse farther away from you. Just about the same distance.
So is there anything that can buffer that? Like, say my purse is made out of some kind of like rubber or some kind of thicker leather, or is there anything that buffers it?
Well, there is shielding material, and we've measured a lot of shielding material, but when you have a phone, you have to measure the top and the back, and then you have to measure all 4 sides. Normally when you have shielding, it's covering not all 6 sides. So it's increasing the radiation off another side, and you don't know where that is.
Okay.
And then if it's harder to get through, cell phones are designed to power up if it's having a harder time to get through the cell tower. So now it's becoming even more dangerous.
Wow.
So what we recommend is that you don't carry shielding for your phone. You just practice safe things.
Etiquette.
Yep. And then tip 5, wireless router and Wi-Fi. Now, we have a best, better, and best solution, and the best is only turn on wireless router or Wi-Fi when you need them. A good solution is turn it off when you sleep. So we had a client, and she said, I can't turn it on when I need it, and I can't remember to turn it off when I go to bed. So all we did is buy a $5 timer at Lowe's or Home Depot. They plug it in like your Christmas tree lights, go to bed at 11, turn it off, and get up at 6 a.m. And that's when you really want to protect yourself at night. Your body's trying to rebuild itself.
Restore and rebuild itself, absolutely.
Yeah. And just at the bottom, you'll see before you turn off the wireless router, ensure that the alarm system, landline, any type of emergency type of service doesn't go through there, because sometimes they do. So make sure you check that out. And so on the next slide, we say at least turn it off at night. And tip 6, cordless phones. Replace cordless phones with cords that plug into the walls. Remember 25 years ago, you used to just plug a phone into a wall and it worked?
Right.
So what we recommend is you actually go back to those phones for your house. And cordless phones generate radiation just like a cell phone. So when you pick up that remote device, that handset, it's generating as much radiation as a cell phone.
Oh my goodness.
So if you're going to keep one, we don't recommend it. But if you are, make sure you use it on speaker mode. And don't buy anything that has a portable handset. So we had a customer heard us. We went out and bought a new phone. But if it ever has a remote handset, then it's traveling wirelessly, even though it has a cord on it and everything else. So never buy a phone. And at the big box stores, you can buy one of these corded phones for only $20. And they're really nice. They have a little, if you'll notice on, they have a little speaker mode as well that can help people just use it hands-free.
So my daughter has one of the phone handhelds that you can plug into your cell phone. Does
that would be better, and as long as you get the cell phone, and she doesn't carry it in her pocket. As long as she doesn't carry it in her pocket.
Okay.
But that's a good solution.
Okay.
And here's one of the worst things. Cordless phone bases, they're called DECT. They generate radiation 24/7, even when you hang up a call. So it's like a mini cell tower right in your home. And let's look at the next slide. So don't have the thing on the right, have the one on the left, have it on the right. They're only $19 at a big box store. And again, this one has a hands-free, so you just hit the little speaker mode. So if someone doesn't want to hold it to their hand, works good. And then on our next slide, we say, what's on your nightstand? So my wife was in a house recently and was in the master bedroom. There was a cordless phone base right next to the gentleman's head. He had multiple health issues and multiple eye problems. And it was blasting, not every 6 to 30 seconds, every single second he slept. And it was and when it blasted, it was 120 times the safe level. So move everything off your nightstand. And again, please get rid of cordless phones. Hey, we're winding up. Tip 7, we're almost done. Reading on an iPad, tablet, Kindle, or cell phone. All these devices are constantly trying to make a Wi-Fi or Bluetooth connection. This happens even if you're not actively searching, uploading, or downloading from the internet. So if you have it on, it's constantly trying to find a Wi-Fi or it's trying to find a Bluetooth, just like a cell phone trying to find a cell tower.
So this is the one the most with the children that
yes.
parents are using in their cars while they're traveling to watch movies, to play games.
Right.
So what do we do?
So our solution for that is what you do is you download a game.
Download it.
And then at the bottom,
you can play it without Wi-Fi.
Right. And then at the bottom, to stop the radiation, always keep airplane mode on and Wi-Fi and Bluetooth off.
Awesome.
Once you've downloaded it, that's a perfect question.
Because their little eyes and their little brain.
Oh boy.
Oh,
it's terrible. So be like this lady on the next page, use it in airplane mode. She's out in the country. She downloaded her book and she's reading it in the country.
Good.
No radiation at all.
So she can have it on her lap. And
right on her lap, and it does not hurt her.
Good.
So tip 8, electronic devices, printers, iPads, tablets, Kindles, virtual reality goggles, really bad, and computers can connect through Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. So turn these off when not using them. These devices generate radiation even in standby mode.
Wow.
So again, whenever you in your office, just turn off your printer, turn off anything electronic, because you never know if almost all electronics have a Wi-Fi and a wireless component that's constantly blasting you.
Our TVs do now too.
Yeah. And so always avoid using laptops and electronic devices on your lap, as we talked about, unless you've turned the radiation off. Try to get them on a table as far away as you can. Electronic devices can generate multiple types of radiation when charging. So what we recommend is you always use them in the battery mode, and then just like your cell phone, charge it over here away from you.
Oh, don't have it plugged in.
Yeah, because it's getting radiation from the wires.
Right.
Yeah, the 3 types.
I'm getting it.
Yeah,
there's a lot.
It's pretty easy. Always use in battery mode. So be like this lady. She's saying A-OK. She's turned everything off. And then look at the lady on the left. She's expecting, and she's got a laptop right there. What can be more dangerous?
And it's probably plugged in.
And what does she have in her right hand?
A cell phone.
A cell phone.
Oh, goodness.
Wow. Be like the young lady on the right, see, she doesn't have it plugged in. She has it on a table as far away as possible.
Excellent.
Yeah. And 34-year-old with an abdominal tumor.
Oh, goodness.
So I was at Thanksgiving once, and a relative came up, didn't know what happened. He just told me, he said he recently had an abdominal tumor removed. I said, wow. And he said, could it be my iPad? I said, I don't know. How are you using it? Every single night, he laid in bed, put his laptop right on his stomach, and read for 2 to 3 hours.
Whoa.
And iPads and tablets are even worse than cell phones, the radiation they generate. So please don't do that. Download your book and then read it safely. Turn off the radiation.
Okay.
And then tip 9, Bluetooth. Bluetooth devices generate wireless radiation. Earpieces, cell phones, headphones, wireless keyboards, wireless mouse, fitness watch, the armbands. Yeah, we measure those. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And what we recommend is never use a Bluetooth earpiece or wireless headphones. So now all the kids have the headphones. Try never to use those. And if you have to use it and then take it away, turn it off. And you've got to turn it off, because even if you're not actively on a call, every 6 to 30 seconds it's trying to find the other nearest Bluetooth device.
I'm replaying everything in my whole life that I've ever done.
But the good news is we know now.
Yes.
And now you can take the steps.
I went to
That's
bed
the
with
solution.
a Walkman, a CD player, like every night when I was in high school.
Yeah. And then fitness watches at the bottom and armbands only when used working out. So we recommend you don't use it. Some people say, I can't give it up. So only wear it for that 1 hour a day you're working out, not 24 hours.
Right.
And when people wear it to bed, guess what it interferes with?
Oh, their brainwaves.
Their sleep, yeah.
Yes.
So if you only wear it once, you've 23 hours you have not worn it. So don't be like this guy. Avoid having it in his ear, the Bluetooth. And now we have on the next slide, Bluetooth melanoma. What's this about? I was at my chiropractor's, and he said, a lady came in and she had melanoma. I said, wow, melanoma, that's really terrible. And she thinks it was her Bluetooth device, earpiece. I said, wow. I said, where was the melanoma? What side? Oh, it was on the same side as the Bluetooth. It wasn't over here. And I said, well, was it above the Bluetooth or was it below the Bluetooth? And he said it was right underneath the Bluetooth device.
Oh my gosh.
So again, we recommend you don't use it, but if you have to use them, only use them, and then please turn them off. And finally, tip number 10, smart meters. Do you have a smart meter? It's a digital display, and it can be 10 times stronger than a cell phone. And there was a lady up in Sacramento. She always got nosebleeds, or every so often when she went into her bedroom. Right behind her bedroom were 16 smart meters. And notice they can be 10 to 70 times stronger than a cell phone.
Whoa.
So you do the math. She finally moved out.
Yeah.
So they produce wireless radiation and dirty electricity, and also solar panels. So some solar panels, they're okay, some aren't. You need to get a solar panel tested to make sure they're okay. And in Southern Nevada and a lot of places, you have an opt-out program where you can get the smart meter off. So we would recommend you would take it off. Okay, replace it. And on the next slide, you can see if you have a meter that has a digital display, you do have a smart meter. And here's the hair loss story we wanted to talk to you about. So there was a lady who went out and did her house, and we said you had to get the smart meter out. And about 2 months later, she got it out. And then she called me up a little bit later. She said, my hair quit falling out. Your hair quit falling out. I didn't even know
that was a symptom.
It was a symptom.
Okay.
And she said it used to fall off in clumps. I said, go back to see when your smart meter was put in. And it was shortly after her smart meter, her hair started falling out.
Whoa.
And here's the bonus tip. Baby monitors generate Wi-Fi and wireless radiation. I'm glad you stuck around. And it's at its baby's head and appearance unit. If using, get as far away as possible. And this we recommend that if you don't use it, but if you're going to use it, you need to measure to see how
The safety
range.
Okay.
And then we must meter to ensure the safety. And now we have a baby monitor video to show you how far you have to get away. So let's look at that video now.
Okay.
In this video, we're going to measure baby monitors for wireless and Wi-Fi radiation. So we have the unit here, which would be next to the baby, and we have it on, and the transmitter is in another room, so it doesn't interfere with our measurement. And we're going to be using the Acousticom 2. And what you do is you press the black button once,
And as you can see, it goes all the way up as 6 volts per meter, and that's 120 times the safe level. We're going to turn the sound on, and then we're going to back up to see at what point it gets toward the safe level. And you want to get into the green. It's still in the amber. We're out of the red, but it's still in the amber, which is not safe for a baby. And we're starting to see a little bit of yellow, but not too much. And as you can see, we're still not consistently in the green. So I'm going to turn the sound off. Modern baby monitors put out a lot of Wi-Fi and wireless radiations. In another video, we'll show you another baby monitor that's not as severe.
Welcome back to the Health and Wellness Hour. We're here with Stop Dirty Electricity, Bill Cadwallader. And we are wrapping up our segment and want to tell you a little bit more about how you can protect yourself and integrate healthy etiquette for your digital devices.
And what did you think about that video? How far did we have to get away? We're about 20 or 30 feet, and it still was not safe.
And how are you supposed to hear your baby if you're that far away from your child? That's insane.
They do have the old-style baby monitors that were sort of like a phone. They went on if the baby cried, and you could hear it, and they do no radiation at all.
Oh, wow.
So you just have to
do your research
and find those. And so we would recommend that you use that. And it's actually getting so bad, they have mats that are Wi-Fi enabled that they lay a baby completely on.
Oh, man.
Wow. Their entire body is covered. And then they have patches. You put different parts on the baby to measure different parts of the baby. It's all Wi-Fi enabled, and it's 120 times the safe level.
Oh, my goodness.
So again, please, if you're going to use a baby monitor, we recommend you don't do it. But please measure it. Have someone measure it, or buy a meter and measure it yourself. That was a little residential meter. You can buy it yourself. It's a very, very good meter. All it has was LED lights, and went from red to green, and it's very easy for anyone to do, just a single button. And so let's just wrap up. Electromagnetic radiation is the tobacco of the 21st century, and like tobacco and smoking, it can kill you. So let's go over our services and products. Do you have any final questions, Abra? Or comments?
Well, I was just thinking, I know this is a whole other hour topic, but if you can kind of touch on, it just seems ridiculous that we have this much technology and there isn't something out there lobbying to protect us. So what are we doing for that realm of it? And I know we can go into that forever, and that's a big topic.
Yeah, just really quickly, with tobacco, we had one industry. And in 1965, they made them put the warning labels on cigarettes. And then there's a famous memo in 1968 that came out by a tobacco executive. That was a paper memo. Remember when you used to have paper? And it said, to fight the tobacco war, executive of a tobacco company, we always have to create doubt whenever we have. And that's unfortunately what the industries are doing now. And now we're not just fighting one, we're fighting three industries: the electric, the Wi-Fi providers, and the cell phone providers. And recently, not too long ago, they hired a PR firm to basically, say this is our case and this is why we're, why we're always safe and there's no problem. Guess what that PR firm also did? Right. They also represented tobacco, and they also represented asbestos. Oh, wow. So their whole job was prove unsafe use of a device or a product is actually safe. But again, we have solutions, so in most cases, we can reduce it over 90%, so please do those 10 things.
Okay.
And let's get over a little service and products. Download the 10 things you can do now. You can go out to stopdirtyelectricity.com, just download it, and if you didn't take copious notes, you can download it now.
And you're also on Facebook?
Yes, we're on Facebook, Stop Dirty Electricity Now, and also we have a YouTube channel. So we have some other 1-minute videos videos. We have a cordless phone video out. We also have the Bluetooth. You can see for yourself what the Bluetooth earpiece is doing. And we're putting those 1-minute videos out all the time to see people do it.
So you can subscribe to your YouTube page.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
And Facebook as well. And we also do speaking engagements. We want to educate your group. So it doesn't matter how small or large. You know, we speak at cancer conferences where there's almost 1,000 people. But if you have a small group, we'd love just to get the word out.
Well, we're going to have you here at Luminosity for sure.
Great. Thank you. And then we have on-site consulting, home schools, and businesses. So we actually go out to their house. We have thousands of dollars worth of meters that we check, and we know about the science and the art about correcting it. And most of the time, we can get the corrections. And then we have phone consulting, and again, we have a do-it-yourself video packages where we showed you a couple of meters. Someone can just buy those. They're not too expensive. And then we have a lot of videos that take you through every room of the house with each meter, and it shows you what to look for in each of those rooms, so you don't have to hunt around. You'll say, oh, there's a printer. I know what to do.
Excellent.
And then we also sell, again, the meters, filterings, and shielding equipment. And here, the final slide that we have is our contact information. Again, there it is, and there's our 800 number. Please call us if you have any questions at all. We love to take questions and help people.
Excellent. Thank you, Bill. Thank you so much for being with us. I learned so much, and hopefully, I'm sure our viewers and listeners learned a lot today and can't wait to reduce the harm in their homes. So thank you for listening to the Health and Wellness Hour here at Luminosity Wellness Center. We're here at 2400 North Tenaya Way in Las Vegas, Nevada, and we're brought to you by WWDBTV. Thank you so much. Enjoy your day.